Hi everyone, it's Karen. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a fabulous week. As the world goes gonk crazy, I thought I would jump on the train and I created this little 3D one. So highly requested this. So if you want to learn how I created this, then just keep on watching. Okay guys, so here's some of the things that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this beautiful light grey gel polish from Neweer called Homecoming. These four plasticine kind of gels. I don't have the link for this particular kind, but I do have a link where you can actually buy yourself. These ones were gifted to me, so I'll leave a link to Neweer UK down below where you can buy some of your own. I'm going to have a little glass of water beside me just to help sort of control the gels because they can get quite tacky. And then these silicone tools, which I did buy from Amazon, I think. Not the best quality, but they do the job. And then some foam paper as well, just to kind of roll the gel on. So that's what we need to get started. Okay, so as you can see, I have already applied 2 coats of that beautiful Homecoming and a matte top coat, and it's all cured. So taking the white 3D sculpting gel, I'm just going to get my metal spatula and lift out a good amount of that sort of that 3D plasticine gel, and I'm just going to rub it between my fingers and sort of get it warmed up a little bit, because now you can obviously, I dip my fingers in that there into the water, and I do put a wee bit on the foam paper just in case I need it. But usually once you've sort of warmed it with the water, with your fingers and using the water, it's usually okay to go ahead and work with straight onto the nail. So all I'm doing is literally rolling that down with my silicone tool and then just kind of pressing and patting it into shape. So I'm kind of working sort of halfway down the nail and all the way down to what would be the free edge, and again just patting and pressing that. And if there's too much, I can just sort of pull it off, and any little bits that I don't need, again I'm just removing those, and then I'm making a little well there, as you can see, for what would be his nose. And then using the pointy end of that silicone tool, I'm just going to do some little grooves down, just to kind of create that little beard effect, if you will. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop it into the lamp for a cure. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to get some more of that white 3D sculpting gel, and I'm just sort of lifting a few of the little, a few little portions of it, and just kind of rolling those out into a little sort of snake kind of shape, if you will. And this bit you don't particularly have to do. If you want to leave the little beard as is, you can. I just kind of wanted to make it a bit more 3D looking. So rolling that out into a very sort of thin little snake, I just lift it, sort of trim it in half there, and then just sort of lift it and set it on to the nail. And then you're kind of going to want to wiggle it sort of down the nail. And I think the best way to do that is with, again, with the sort of the dotting tool edge of the silicone tool there. So you're just kind of going to want to sort of wiggle that about and down the nail, and whenever you're happy with it, you can go in for a cure. And we're going to do this probably about sort of 3-4 times with different wee sort of strands, just to sort of to build that 3D effect of his beard. So and once you're happy with that, then you can go ahead and pop it in for a cure. So but you'll see what I mean in a minute, because obviously this here is the first little bit of the beard, and then I'll add about sort of 3 or 4 more of those strands just to give it a real 3D effect. Okay, so using my white and peach, I'm going to kind of mush them together and roll some into a little ball, which I'm setting in that dip that we created above his beard. And then using the silicone tool, I'm just kind of going to manipulate that into shape. Once I'm happy with that, then we will go in for a cure. Okay, so now on to his little hat, and I'm going to lift a good amount of that blue sculpting gel, roll it into a little ball between your fingers to make it nice and warm, and then press it onto the foam paper. Make sure that you put some water down because you are going to want to sort of manipulate this a little bit with the silicone tools, and what you're aiming for is pretty much a triangle that you're going to sort of, you're going to make it into a triangle, and then the peak you're kind of going to almost curl over. So at the base of his hat now, I'm just kind of curving it there so that his nose will fit into that little bit. So as you can see, I'm now working on the peak of the hat, and once I'm happy with the shape of that there, as you can see, I'm just kind of like working on that little peak now. I just lift it then very gently because I find it easier to do it this way. I lift it very gently and just set it onto the nail. And then once it's actually on the nail, then I can work with it just a little bit more. And I'm just sort of very gently pressing it down, putting it into place, and being sort of conscious of where his little nose is going to sit. And again, then just using my silicone tool, I'm just sort of edging that into shape. And then what I'm going to do is where the sort of the peak of the hat is, you'll see me in a moment just kind of like pulling it out a little bit to sort of create more of a crisp sort of point to that. As you can see, I'm just sort of pulling that out. And any excess I can literally just sort of pull and almost sort of like twist off, and then that very, very fine little point I can just twist round. So that's the little peak of his hat done, and then I can just use my silicone tool to just to kind of mold the rest of it. And then using the metal tool, then I'm just going to create what would be sort of the little ridge of his hat as well too, just above his nose for some detail. Okay, so now on to his little bauble, and I'm just going to lift some of that dark blue and a very, very small amount, and I'm just rolling that between my fingers just to sort of mould it into a little ball. And then I'm just going to set that at the peak of his little hat that's folded over. Once I'm happy with the placement of it, then I'm going to get a very fine dotting tool and just sort of indent that a few times to make it look like a nice wee fuzzy bauble. And then we'll go in for a cure. Okay, so now for some detail, I'm going to be using this gel polish called Morning River. I'm just going to pop a tiny little dot onto the foam paper, and then I will be using the Nat Mug detailer brush, but firstly I'm going to go in with the dotting tool, and I'm just going to do 3 little dots, 2 at the top and then 1 in the middle down below. And then using my detailer brush, I'm just kind of going to perfect that more into a little heart shape. And once I'm happy with that, then I can go ahead and pop it in the lamp for a cure. Okay, and then using some white gel polish, I'm just going to add some more detail into his hat, some stitching just around the actual brim of the hat there. And I do that by putting little dots down and then just kind of trailing them along there, so it looks like little stitches. And I'm going to do the same with the peak. Actually, I do have like a little stitch in there just up near the peak of the hat, but I'm kind of not happy with that, so I end up actually wiping that off and doing it a little bit finer as well too, which you shall see in a moment. But this is just sort of all about adding those little extra finishing touches. And as you can see here, then that's me actually where I've wiped off that that initial little sort of tear mark, and then I'm just kind of putting it back in, again just using my brush really lightly and just adding in those little extra details. It just makes all the difference. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with some Evening Walk and Homecoming and just kind of like shade in some parts of his little beard. This is just to give it some depth and dimension. You don't have to do this. I just kind of wanted to. Don't forget, you're going to have to sort of like very lightly matte top coat it if you do go over this here. So, but once I've done that, then I just go in for a cure and that's it all done. Ta-da! And that is our cute little Gonk man all finished. I think he is super cute and I had so much fun creating this design. Like I say, this is sort of just how I done it. Of course, you know, you may have your own techniques, and but this is sort of what worked for me. So I hope that you enjoyed this and maybe you'll give it a go yourself. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and please do share because it really helps the channel. So thank you guys so much indeed for all your support, and have a great week, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.